Welcome to some new r/MaliciousCompliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called I'd Love To. I work in the events department for a large company. Projectors, microphones, computers, etc. If it's required for an event, then we handle it, and it probably passes through my workflow for helping to organize. My department also handles catering for events. While it's not my team specifically, we work side by side. The associate director runs the catering and event coordinators. My manager only runs the AV side and doesn't report to the associate director. Despite not being specifically part of my job description, I also do the technical side of getting new staff members online within our system, getting their staff account created and also getting Teams and OneDrive online on their mobile so they can see all their paperwork. And the reason why I'm happy to do this is that with the catering team being a revolving door of staff, getting them online needs to be done immediately and fast. You can go to the greater IT team to do this, but you can be waiting days for them to get it done. Whereas I can do it within 5 to 10 minutes with them. And staff that aren't online on our system can't work, therefore they wouldn't be able to complete their assigned shift. And IT won't touch their request until they show up for their first shift, at which point you then wait days for them to get onto it. See the flawed logic here? Setting up a new account also involves setting up their personal work email, group email access, system permissions access, and to a limited extent, their access card swipe permissions. Normally, this would be done by the security team, but 10 years at a company really comes with its perks of being connected to the right people. When you want to get something like this done fast, it's often easier for one person with permission to do it, as opposed to multiple people in their own workflows. Recently, my boss has thrown another bout of trying to micromanage the heck out of my team. We all hate it, but I guess we can just ride this wave out again. The associate director asked me to go to one of our other offices on the other side of the city to set up a group of new staff in one large batch order. My own manager looked at the request and got one of those "time for some micromanagement shenanigans" faces. Hey boss, the associate director wants me to go to the other office to set up some new staff in the system next week on Friday. Nope, I need you here in case something happens. Very busy day. There's nothing on the roster for that day, and I'd still be available remotely. Just write the associate director a document about how to get people set up in the system, and he can do it himself. Are you sure? I do it fast because I'm trained on the system, and he doesn't. Including travel, I'd only be gone for about 3 to 4 hours. Writing the document on how to get someone set up in the system would take much longer. Write the document and put everything he needs to know in it. It only needs to be what? Half a page? Can't be that hard. Everything? Alright. Cue malicious compliance. What my boss expected was a half-page instruction manual on getting a new account created within the system. I don't think I could have kept it that short, even if I tried. What followed was a 3-day project writing out the instruction manual for how to get someone set up in the system, which comprised of 34 pages. Not half a page. Large portions of it are troubleshooting steps, accounting for different models of phones and likely fixes when they do weird things. Most of the information in here was collective knowledge I've built up over the years. And who else to phone in IT for the most outrageous issues that had to be resolved that I didn't have permission for, and who could generally do it immediately. I warned the associate director that this was going to be a very large technical manual, and he should probably read it before heading to the other office. Isn't it half a page? My boss said to put everything in it. Oh no. What followed was the associate director attempting to take somewhere between 10 to 20 people through this very technically written manual about getting someone set up in the system. To anyone not technically inclined, it could have all been in a different language for all they could understand. After 30 minutes, he called me, put me on speakerphone and camera to the new staff and said, "Just do it." Sitting at my computer, I spent the next 40 minutes getting everyone online. Technical support over a phone can be straining. And then they were fine to start their shifts. Finally, the associate director asked me something in private afterward. Did it need to be this complicated? Actually, I summarized some sections to make it easier. Didn't want to make it difficult for you. Wasn't the intention. but my boss told me to write down everything, so I did. Good to know. Thanks. Following the weekend, I was notified that when I was requested to go get a new staff member set up, I should find a time that I am available and go do it, irrespective of other tasks. Not sure what happened up top, but I think my boss got a very heavy smack for it. The next story is called Wrong Question. Years ago, I worked as a bookkeeper for a small family-owned business. The owner was a cranky old codger who was perpetually in a bad mood. One of my responsibilities was making bank deposits. This was pre-internet, so I literally had to take an envelope with cash and checks to the bank. If they were closed, they had a slot in the wall for night deposits. Sometimes I was able to get there before they closed, and other times I had to use the night deposit. On one particular day, the owner called me into his office and asked if I was going to make a deposit that day. I planned to make a night deposit, so I wanted to clarify if he meant while the bank was open. I got as far as, "Do you mean?" when he slammed his hand on the desk and yelled, "Are you making a deposit today?" Cue malicious compliance. I simply answered his question, yes. A couple of days later, he stormed up to my desk and demanded to know why I had not made a deposit the day he asked. I had apparently caused some huge problems with his cash flow. I calmly replied that I did make a deposit that day, but it had been a night deposit, and he had not given me a chance to clarify. He clearly didn't like the answer, but dropped it and went off in a huff. I quit not long after that. The last story is called Followed the Rules. I used to work for a major railroad, ending my career in 2018. We weren't allowed to strike, so instead of striking, we could and often did utilize the 40k plus rules that all contradict each other for some very sweet malicious compliance. John is a great guy, never calls off, been with the company for over 20 years. He knows his job well and often will take the time to train newer switchmen, brakemen and conductors. He is very personable and just a generally easy guy to talk with. He was also our union rep for a long time, until his wife became ill, so he resigned from those duties. One day I heard a manager yelling at him because he was late to a scheduled train during what I would call a pretty major storm. This is the Pacific Northwest, with snow, hail and rain coming down on very graded terrain. The manager tells him that when he gets to his destination, he's going to personally meet him there to counsel him. I hear John utter the words, "You'll be waiting a while." This piece of track is very mountainous. At a single point, it drops down to a single line of rail between two major intersections of tracks. It is very busy, but due to the grade, only a single train can do it at once. This area is also very difficult to do maintenance on in good weather, since it requires essentially off-roading mountain roads with steep cliffs in areas that aren't otherwise easily manageable. Nevertheless, during this icy storm, John hops in his scheduled train, the train takes off, and my conductor walks in from outside. He had spoken with John beforehand. They were good friends. He tells me to put my paperwork down and that we aren't going to be going anywhere. I kick my feet up and enjoy getting paid for nothing all shift. A bit confused, he tells me to watch the line traffic monitor. Sure enough, John knew this choke point. He set his train on it, blocking all transfers from most of the West Coast, at least the northern portion of the US, Portland, Seattle and Canada. He stated that due to worsening weather, visibility and safety, that he would not move the train until it was safe to do so. He hit his 12 on duty, then waited another 4 for our ride. I was sent home after 2 hours of waiting, but could monitor from my phone app and my laptop. I calculated his pay for all this and the deadhead he had back to our station, and it was close to a $1,000 day for him. None of us complained. We get paid regardless of the train status, and he was in fact following the company and the regulations, which are very strict about safety. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.